Alright, so I'm starting this video and I actually found this new bike path that I'd never seen before. Um, and off to the right is a park that I really like. And the first time I went there is because there's actually a ferry that you can take to that park. And then on the left side, and there's a bridge ahead over there. I think that bridge was open in the past. So that's the park. And you can see like kind of where the port opening is. And you can see then on the left side that there's like a lot of construction and stuff going on. And I believe I've been on that bridge before. I gotta look up the footage. But it's obviously closed off now, and the Olympic stuff is off to the left there. So, anyway, very cool view going over the river, kind of at the mouth of the bay. And then these are quite interesting, these kind of like switchback ramps that they have for getting up and down bridges on bicycles. And then there'll be obstacles, like they want you to basically walk them or take it very slow. But yeah, usually people are good about it. And you can't really see them, but these apartment complexes are kind of like the Japanese equivalent of projects, government housing essentially. I think they're called like Daicho or Daiya or something like that. Daichi. But they're also, these are all of these like infill islands that they've been kind of adding over the decades in Tokyo to create more land, and they're doing like redevelopment projects on them, so you can kind of get a sense that some of these, like up there ahead, some of these buildings are kind of like the newer ones, and they're kind of, marketing them to, I guess, I don't know, like newer middle class families that, want modern amenities, but kind of being relatively close to the city. I kind of have mixed feelings about it because it feels like they're kind of Hong Kongizing, Chinaizing the like the development. Like one of the things that's been unique about Japan is that it doesn't have as much of that like high-rise density, interestingly enough. So anyway, I just jumped ahead to a park on the kind of just the other side, the tiny little island, and I didn't really realize it, but so that's the Olympic Village right over there. Unfortunately, you can't see them well in these shots, but it's like you could see the flags in person. Okay, I cut through it quickly, but it was like Brazil, they had Europe, European countries, France, Germany, stuff like that. So this is just like, I actually don't know if it was like a park. I think it's like a private park for people, but like accessible, with a walking bridge for people that are living in the new high rises and stuff. So yeah, I had just seen this walking bridge on the map. It was my first time, and so I could see that it connected to right by where the Olympic Village was. So I decided to just kind of come and check it out once I was nearby. I really didn't have a sense of like where the Olympic Village was, or kind of like just the style. And so there's police, so you like whenever there's events and stuff going on, they'll just have police stationed all around. Usually like that, just like a lot of like one-off, just to kind of keep an eye on things and let people know like, hey, police are watching. And so I should have pointed out, but like at the bottom of the bridge, that was like the Olympic, that was like, yeah, one of the main entrances then. But it, just with everything going on with COVID and stuff, it didn't have like a great vibe about it. Like it's, I mean, it has this like kind of military grade. There was literally a military, like giant Humvee, even larger than a Humvee type of vehicle. There's another police officer that had been passing through. So got the umbrellas out, mostly for the ladies. It was really hot, like at this point in the day. I think this is like mid-afternoon. Not a cloud in the sky. Summer, like full-on proper Tokyo summer, had just kicked in. Yeah, so it's just another one of these nice long bridges that they have going over the waterways, and most of them will have, I want to say almost all of them you can walk over, and so walk and bike, um, and yeah, and then they have kind of like the little obstacles there to try and slow you down. Um, I think that's one of the like monorail type, the overhead off to the left that was there. At this point, I was just kind of like riding around, exploring. I mean, I had seen a little bit kind of coming in. So that's the bridge that I just came in on, and then I just kind of like looped back around. I had seen this green space, and it looked like it was like a sports park here. I think I saw even a little bit of like a skate park and stuff. I think that like off to the little right in front. I think that's like it's like a running venue, like an indoor running arena or something. Um, anyway, just it would have been really nice to just like sit out on the grass. It was too hot to really be able to enjoy it. And they had like kind of a beer garden type of thing off to the left there, which was like, it looked really nice. There was literally one group of people. I don't know, like it's so confusing sometimes with these businesses and then the events, and it's like, are things even open? Are they, are they kind of VIP? Are they building it up and preparing it? Been trying to make sure to drink extra water now, especially with it getting hot and everything. So, yeah, to me, like those taller buildings, that's kind of like this new Tokyo that's getting done up to, do more high rises, kind of. I don't think Tokyo traditionally had as much of that, to be honest. But just building up more of these kind of, yeah, like Asian mega city style. Um, exactly that. These just kind of modern, apartment complex condo things. So I had never been here before. I maybe had been on the other side and noticed it. Okay, so that's the Olympic Village from the other side, and I snapped some pictures. You can't see it here, but there's like two Japanese Coast Guard boats, and then the one on the right that's parked in front of, docked in front of the Chinese Olympic Village. I was like, is there a little symbolism or something there? And some guys out fishing and chatting and stuff. So off in front, that's what they call Rainbow Bridge. It's kind of like the most iconic large bridge for Tokyo. Yeah, just really nice. I'm my first time ever here, and so I'm wondering, like, is it always this empty, or does it get like super inundated with people on the weekends? And off to the left there, and then there was a group of like kids. I tried to catch it a little more, and then there was two police officers walking by, and the kids were like they seemed like the troublemaker rebel ones, but like not like anything really wrong. And they were acting like, for Japanese, I mean, they were probably either older high school or like college, post high school, college age style, but maybe didn't go to university, and they were acting like they might have been on drugs, and it was just and then just the fact that the cops were walking by, and it was just so hot that they might have literally just been like, and I mean, I think to some degree kids and the young adults, because of going through the COVID experience, I think they've been like the silent victims of this whole thing, if you will, because they like kind of really have the least say in this, and they don't even really know, like, they don't even have like lives relative to not having the pandemic to really know, and they just, it's like almost like the future's kind of out of their control and stuff. And for the most part, I think they've been pretty good, but they've also received probably a tad bit more blame than they deserve, like, they stuff like that, like, they're out drinking in the parks and they're socializing too much and stuff. So yeah, just more these kind of riverside cruise. So I think there was more Olympic venues, a little police kind of river cutter. I was excited here because there was like really nice ledges to skate, and then out by the river, and it seemed like even though there's a signs of no skating, it seemed like, and they hadn't been waxed, and it seemed like you wouldn't be bothered. That was I think another Olympic venue down there, and the camera I had changed the setting by accident, and so it kind of did this like momentum movement thing, but it kind of goes down, back up. So there was the dog on the path, and then right here, it seemed probably a lot faster than it was. I was like going super slow, and I saw her and everything, and I'm sure the mom still was a little. I mean, she said sorry to me, but I'm sure she felt a little like kind of like, please don't hit my daughter. More police. I would try to do. So I really like just some of the views across. I'd been around to some of these spots. I had not been on this bike path before. I think I'd been on the other side maybe. You have that monorail that's passing overhead there. I actually forget like which monorail that is in work. I think that might be the one that goes to, it's called Odaiba, which is kind of like, they made this like artificial beach basically. But then it's been closed. I think been closed before COVID for construction, and they were probably trying to like prep it for the Olympics, but then they used COVID as an excuse to like keep it closed. So it's interesting here just in the sense of like, I could be riding in the road if I wanted to, and if I was trying to get somewhere really quickly, I would, but the truth is like there's so few people walking, at least at this kind of time of day and everything, and then the cars, these are one of those zones where like it's a, you know, kind of like a just larger car dominated roadways, so even though there is like the little bike arrow thing and you can ride on them, but you feel that difference of presence. It's more relaxed for the most part. So there was the Rainbow Bridge there, and I was trying to capture just like I was talking about with these kind of newer, you know, Tokyo high-rises on the water. I like the idea of like Tokyo's waterway. I think it's one of the more, or waterways really, I think it's one of the more underappreciated aspects of Tokyo. Like people don't really think of Tokyo as being this kind of water and canal city, and like having like people don't talk about like, oh, the Tokyo waterfront or the Tokyo harbor side or anything, but like it has a ton of it. They just, you know, they need to do better on the development and on the infrastructure. They don't have the infrastructure to get you around to right now. That's actually the main thing. The development's starting to be there, but it's mostly on like residential suburban kind of vibe, like that condo suburban. So these are all like Olympic. These are the Olympic volunteers and the, I think people. I felt like I heard like Chinese. I'd seen like a Thai guy at one point. And yeah, so you know, I mean, and that's I think one of the spots there was access to the Olympics. So you know, you can see there's obviously that whole sense of like kind of an event, if you will. Because I'm just riding around with the camera kind of attached to my bag, so I'm not always kind of capturing. This is kind of whatever's in front of me. But yeah, it's in terms of the Olympics. So there's another example of kind of the nice, you know, these little kind of like harbor side canal waterways, and then clearly construction, and you can't really see it, but up ahead a little bit on the left side there's a small bridge also with like cars and people crossing, and it's commute time. But I mean, like I'm technically on an island right now. Like it's a super tiny island with a bunch of little canals and stuff, and then walking bridges, and you know, traffic bridges. And then what's interesting is like there is also this whole like kind of port culture, like a little bit off to the left right there. There's a little ferry port, but it's so under, I think, developed and advertised and not well known. Like very few people kind of know about it and use it. It's not, it's not very reliable, consistent, affordable. I mean, that's like tough to do. I think there's very few cities that have really like functioning water transport. Bangkok probably is the one that I know of that has the best. I mean, really, you need frequency out of it without it being expensive. So now this is heading back into kind of like the more central area. This is the main river, and then all the kind of bridges that go back and forth over it. And so it's pretty much, can't really see it there, but that was like a African security guard, just showing how kind of like diverse Tokyo is getting. And then yeah, this girl I thought was interesting on the bicycle. She zipped right in front of me as I was coming on the road, which is fair enough. Like I looked, but I didn't quite see her. She'd have the right of way, kind of the getting on and off the road thing with the bicycles. So I was a little bit of a platform in terms of sharing the road and stuff. So, but I just thought it was an interesting example of like the type of cyclists that you see in Tokyo, like the big, loose, long dress, and then riding the little bike, but pretty comfortable in like aggressive traffic, tight spaces, buses. She was riding one-handed also, like she was holding her phone. And then, so that was her again. What cracked me up about it was that I'd done the thing on the sidewalk and I'd passed her, and then she got up to me and she zipped through on the like yellow red light. Basically, she had somewhere to be, obviously. There was a green like vehicle there, and that was like the delivery guys on the bicycle. So anyway, this is just, I mean, no one calls it downtown. I like to say that just for simplicity. But this is, if it was San Francisco, people would probably call it like the financial district. This is one of the that was one of the kind of always pedestrian intersections. And then this is the sunset, so you can't see it, but like where there's the greenery off to the leftish right there. This is the edge of the Imperial Palace, which is kind of like the geographic, like literal center of Tokyo. Going in circles, kind of changing my mind on which direction to go. So I think I had been on like the outer ring road of the castle, and then I jumped in, and so this is actually like the more inner ring. There you go on this side, and that people really like to go and kind of jog and exercise around it, especially kind of after work, evening, that type of stuff. And so again, this could be a spot, and honestly most of the time I would ride this in the street, because there's just no way with all the people. It takes you longer and on a bicycle, and it's more effortful to not hit people essentially and keep it safe and everything. And then it's kind of the inverse, is like it's when you get on the road as the bicycle, it's very simple what you have to do, and you just have to like kind of stay in your spot, be predictable. So I do here, and then hope the cars don't hit you. And I actually, right here, yep, that white SUV passed me like super close on a bend.